Esports has a participation problem. Millions can watch, but very few can enter structured competitions smoothly. This matters because the proposed fix is infrastructure, not content. The goal is to make competition feel native to gameplay instead of sending players through external brackets, schedules, and separate tools. The hard part is not naming the problem. The hard part is proving that the product changes user behavior in a lasting way. There is a gap between watching elite play and getting into organized competition, even in games with deep rank systems. It pointed to community tournaments and open events as proof that players will compete if the barrier is low enough. For searches like watching ISNT, this matters because the proposed fix is infrastructure, not content. The goal is to make competition feel native to gameplay instead of sending players through external brackets, schedules, and separate tools. Those details explain the pitch, but they do not automatically prove habit or retention. Elympics AI was framed as infrastructure that can create on-demand competitions, match players, and track performance more seamlessly. In simple terms, the platform idea is to collapse the distance between watching and competing. If the game can spin up structured play instantly, spectatorship becomes a funnel into participation instead of a dead end. Infrastructure matters here because competition fails when the workflow around games is clumsy, even if the game itself is highly competitive. That is the core functional claim the project is asking users to believe. That affects game studios, competitive communities, and players who understand esports deeply but rarely touch formal tournament systems. The main question is whether the product removes a real pain point or only packages a familiar idea in new language. In concept-driven launches, that difference decides whether interest compounds or disappears. What remains unclear is implementation at scale. Infrastructure claims sound strong, but the article did not show concrete user counts, live deployment breadth, or persistent revenue proof. Watching ISNT is the phrase tied to this setup, and what remains unclear is implementation at scale. Infrastructure claims sound strong, but the article did not show concrete user counts, live deployment breadth, or persistent revenue proof. A strong launch narrative can travel far before there is enough public data to judge it properly. A lot of concept-heavy crypto products sound convincing at launch because the problem statement is real. The harder part is showing that users stay, spend, and return once the first curiosity wave passes. That is where durable value is usually won or lost. Watch whether games actually embed these systems, whether tournament participation rises when the workflow is simplified, and whether player identity becomes portable across titles. That is the signal that separates a workable model from a clever pitch. Without that follow-through, even a well-defined idea can flatten into marketing very quickly. The broader angle is that crypto keeps trying to turn coordination problems into tokenized systems. Sometimes that works. Sometimes the token arrives before the habit does. This story is trying to prove the habit can come first, or at least arrive fast enough to matter. Watch whether games actually embed these systems, whether tournament participation rises when the workflow is simplified, and whether player identity becomes portable across titles. The useful way to follow this story is to watch behavior, not slogans, because behavior is the only part that can validate the thesis over time.